We're back 2 weeks in a row. There should have been 4 of us. There are not. But I'm here. I'm still Courtney. That's still Danielle. Who waves? That's still Karen. Jen is was supposed to be here. Had to go to work today, but it's all right. We're gonna hold the fort down. We got a lot to talk about. But first, you've dealt with us talking about this t-shirt fundraiser for like a bajillion weeks, and we don't have to talk about it anymore because we have sold 35 shirts. We only needed 33, got 35. So they're definitely getting printed, confirmed. Money's definitely getting donated. Sweet. If you didn't buy a shirt and you still want to, you still have till tomorrow, end of tomorrow to do so, but we did it. It's happening. Money's going to Athlete Ally. Thanks everyone who bought a shirt or shared or did everything. And we appreciate it. So, all right. Hi, Star Killer, and anyone else who's out there. Thanks for watching, as always. And we have a lot to talk about today. So we are just going to kind of, scoot rather quickly through this. We're going to have a lightning round of World Cup stuff. But first, NWSL was on a break this week, but they are back. Last week they are back this weekend, and my list is doing funny things, so that's exciting.
I can do that if you want.
I got it. I just thought it popped out of the window it was in, so that's bizarre. So here's the schedule for this weekend. I have to say I hate how these games are scheduled, but I get it, especially with the U.S. being on Sunday. So Portland Thorns are at the Courage Saturday, 7:45. These are all Saturday. Orlando's at Houston. And when I say the time, it's I'd say them in Eastern time because that's where I live. So Portland at Carolina, 7:45. Orlando at Houston, 8:30. Sky Blue at Utah, 10 p.m. and Washington at the Reign, also at 10 p.m. So there we go. That's it. We're going to get right into the World Cup stuff. I know we're like, are we going to have a show? Let's have a show. And we're going to. We have a lot of stuff. It's because it's so late in the week, too. We got a lot to talk about. So here we go. We're just going to go through. If you have questions, that's fine. We'll try to get to them afterwards. We're just going to kind of go through. And if anyone's got anything pressing to say, we're going to do the thing. Okay. First game of the 2019 Women's World Cup. France beat, we're going to call them South Korea. They call themselves Korea Republic. It's really South Korea. 4 goals. 4-0. Goals by, and I don't speak French that well, so Les Sommer, probably not right. Renard ×2. Henri. Who's got the talking points for this one? Anyone got anything? Anyone got anything you want to talk about?
Big Wendy. 2 goals.
What?
Big Wendy, 2 goals.
There you go.
She's going to be really hard for people to guard on set pieces. I think Norway did a pretty good job, but she's going to be hard.
Yep, that's it. Great. This is how this is going to go.
One last one. I didn't realize how young she is and how many goals she has, considering she's not even – I feel like she's been around forever, but she's like, what, 28 or even younger? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
at max 28.
Yeah, it's crazy. Go.
All right. Next up, Germany beat China. And I'm going to apologize in advance if I butcher any of these names through this whole list. I'm trying my hardest. Germany beat China 1-0. Goal by Julia Gwynn. Probably not how you say that W, but we're going to go with it. I have a big talking point real quick. China, maybe a little too physical in that one. Maybe just a tiny bit. However, Germany really didn't handle that well for Germany. Like they're more athletic and physical than that. They were acting like they were getting like run over by a vehicle. I don't know. That was disappointing. Anyone else?
No, that was
Danielle.
I like underdogs playing physical because it disrupts the big team. So I thought it was a really great game plan.
All right. Sorry, I got too many windows going on right now. All right, next. Whew. Cool. Spain beat South Africa 3-1. Goals by Jennifer Hermoso. times 2, both penalties. We're probably going to come back to that towards the end of the show. And one by Lucia Garcia, and then a goal for South Africa by Thembi Katlana. Yeah. Anyone? Karen.
I just want to tell Spain to keep putting in the Garcias. That's it. Because they are game changers. Boom. Put in the Garcias.
All right. Danielle, anything? All right. I got to keep checking windows. All right. Norway beat Nigeria 3-0. Goals by Girl Raitan, Lisa Marie Utland, and unfortunately, Osinachi Ohale had an own goal. My talking points are own goals suck. Also, does everyone remember that Ohale used to play for NWSL? Because I had to think about it for a minute, but she did. Houston Dash. Right on. Anyone?
Nope.
I think that the story of that game should have been the game, other than other things that were talked about.
Yep. All right.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Italy beat Australia at the very probably last minute they could have beat Australia. 2-1 goals by Sam Kerr, who should probably not take penalties. No disrespect to Sam Kerr, but it worked out. And then 2 by Barbara Bonansea. I'll just start out to say quickly that I was surprised Italy hung in there fitness-wise for 90 plus minutes. I didn't think they would. And I, again, was wrong. I said at the beginning of the game, ? I was wrong. Danielle, did you want to hop in on you said something about Italy. You want to hop in on the Italy?
There's 2 things I wanted to talk about. One with Australia, and I know we'll talk about them again because today's game, I've always felt like Australia was a team that could win the whole damn thing or crash out group stage. And so this game was kind of like, yeah, that sounds about right. 2, Italy was super good, and somehow I got real into them. And with my little heritage, I was like, oh, I'm Italian now. I'm calling Grandma Nona. Yeah, gotta eat some. But I was surprised they hung in, but I'm not, because there has been such a big investment that Italian club teams are putting in the women's game. They had that game with the huge attendance figures. Juventus is really putting it in. And if you look at the Italian players, they're all playing for them. I mean, yeah, there's AC Milan and other teams, but a lot of them are playing for that. So I think that I don't know if we'd have this show in 4 years. So there's no way anyone could ever tell me I'm wrong here. But I can see Italy in 4 years, if not 8 years, being a big player on the national stage. Boom.
So, if we're here in 4 years, we'll come back to episode 24. We're on episode 60 something, and we'll go there. Karen, did you have anything to add before I move on?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm all good.
I like to just check in because I miss the hands sometimes.
Good.
All right. Brazil beat Nigeria 3-0 with a hat trick by Cristiane. I'm gonna say what probably everyone's talking point was. Sydney Schneider is a boss. And then Danielle's got something else. She's waving her hands in the air. But yes, Sydney Schneider's a boss. Whatever Danielle has to say.
Jamaica, right?
I'm sorry.
Nigeria.
Why did Jamaica? What did I say? Oh, Nigeria. Oh, God. Jamaica. Wow, we all missed that.
Oh,
yeah,
I did not, because I was like, Schneider plays for Jamaica. So
sorry. Nope, Jamaica. My bad. Wow. Thank you for that. And I wrote this, and we all were just like, there's so many games. So yeah, they
skimmed past it.
They didn't beat Nigeria. They beat Jamaica. My bad. Sorry, Jamaica. I didn't mean to disclude you from this recap of World Cup. They beat Jamaica. Because I just said that somebody else beat Nigeria, so that doesn't make sense. But yes, we beat Jamaica 3-0 with a hat trick by Cristiane. And I was gonna say at the time I had thought, oh, are they better without Marta? But then we'll get there because they played with Marta today, only for a half. But it is what it is. All right, we're on a different page. Whew, this is going well. We're going to come back and talk about stuff, so don't worry. I know we're kind of flying through this, but we just want to make sure we get through it all.
Mm-hmm.
All right. England beat Scotland 2-1. Goals by Nikita Parris, which was another penalty. Ellen White and Claire Emsley. The only thing I want to say about that is I know last week we were like, oh, Orlando signed Emsley. What good's that going to do? Well, I mean, I said that. Okay, I said that. When she comes back from the World Cup, maybe a lot. I was pretty impressed with her. So, next up for the England Scotland game, Karen, anything?
Yes.
I was gonna say, there's Kim Little involved. I have to make sure we get this.
Yes.
In here.
She was kept pretty quiet, I think, for the first half, and then the second half, I think Scotland started finding her, and she was getting the ball more. And then her and Cuthbert were playing. That's how they got their goal. And also, Cuthbert is just a boss. She's a boss head to toe. And I wish that she played more in NWSL instead of overseas, but she doesn't. She plays for Chelsea, so I should shut up. And that's it.
Danielle?
I didn't realize until watching that game I had a lot of feelings, and things got real weird on Twitter if you follow me. So I do apologize. I got a little crazy. I think that there's some people who, maybe a couple of us here on the panel, who still have some bad feelings towards England about all that stuff last year, defending a kind of racist predator. So we are all in for Scotland, and one of my good friends is Scottish. I say good friends like we're not just Twitter mutuals. You might follow her, but it was so fun watching Davina hear her national
Yes.
anthem. Davina was gold, and if you don't follow her, she had some real good shit. And so watching her get excited was great. And also the commentators said that Scotland probably wanted England to do well, which is ridiculous.
That was so dumb.
I get that they're part of, will play a unified team, but I guarantee you Scottish people do not want England to do well in anything in life. Go.
Centuries of history
We're fine.
that they just glossed over for that shit. That was so stupid.
When I said I was going to get drunk and fight the English, also I was going to get drunk and fight the
You're so dumb.
I gotta come back real quick. One more thing about that, and this, I don't know, people may come at me about this. Trying to steal when Scotland scores a goal and they're trying to do a quick restart like that, hogging the ball and literally rolling around on the ground and trying to get stop that. You want all this been talk about poor sportsmanship, and we'll get there. That's actual poor sportsmanship. I don't care. We'll talk about goal celebrations and whatnot a little bit, but that is actual poor sportsmanship. I know some people try to take it, but she literally was like, I'm gonna wrestle you and fight you away from this ball, and I think that is a little bit of gamesmanship. Again, if you just grab it real quick and run with it, it's a little bit of gamesmanship. But when you're literally I'm going to fight you and roll over on the ground for it, ooh.
Are you saying the Scottish player was the poor sports?
Lucy Bronze.
No. Okay, I was making sure you meant Lucy Bronze, because I
couldn't remember who it was. Yeah, no, Lucy Bronze, not the Scottish player. Bad on Lucy Bronze.
It was Cuthbert.
When you're one of the top 5 teams in the world and you're playing an actual I'm trying to think of Scottish insults here, but doing that shit. And then they were aiming to get those PKs too. They wanted to rely on the handball PKs. And it's no, you're a good program. Play your shit. I have a lot of bad feelings. I was talking about Lucy Bronze there. I was not trying to be no. I wanted to make sure, because I was going to yell and we'll rage quit this chat.
No. We're good.
Yeah,
all right.
2 hands on the back and just went back, and I was like,
yeah. I'm just
sorry.
Anyways, oh, you're good. Like I said, if we're really emotional about something, we could take a little bit of time. We're scooting right on through. Argentina and Japan had a scoreless draw. My big talking point. What? Anyone? Yeah, Danielle. That's all I have to say is what?
I actually was not as surprised as I could be, because Japan was not great last summer in the Tournament of Nations. They brought in a lot of young players. They're obviously rebuilding. And I think for Japan, obviously they want to do well this tournament, but for them, it's next summer. Olympics, home soil, and that's the key. So learn as much as they can this summer, but really aim for next. Also, Argentina getting that draw was so amazing, because if we're talking about crappy federations, their federation wouldn't pay for a hotel for them. So to draw against the, 2011 winner was amazing. And Argentina can go.
All right.
Argentina federation. Not
I got you. I got what you meant there. All right. Canada beat Cameroon 1-0 goal by Khadijah Buchanan. My big talking point again was, huh? What? That's all I have to say about that. What? I really feel again, props to Cameroon, but like that should have been a lot more than that. But anyone else have anything other than the head shaking and thumbs down we got going on here? Karen.
I just have one thing to say, and that's kind of like an overarching kind of thing. But a lot of these teams, like Cameroon, the smaller teams that are ranked lower, I haven't been seeing a lot of parking the bus. They've actually been taking the game to these teams. Like Cameroon took it to Canada. They had a bunch of chances, and Canada like barely escaped getting scored on by Cameroon, which is, I believe, the lowest ranked team in the tournament. Or is it's Cameroon or Jamaica? Either way.
It might be Jamaica, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, it's one of the lowest teams ranked, though, and they took it to Canada. They weren't just like parking the bus or like doing like desperate defending. And so props to Cameroon, but also Canada was so flat, and I'm not used to them being that flat.
I don't know if Courtney froze, so I'll just say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm back. We're back. I'm back. I think I'm back.
Okay. I was just going to say, maybe not necessarily this game, but one thing I've noticed as an overarching thing with commentators and people on Twitter in general, and maybe this is an access thing, but I feel like we've been underestimating a lot of teams. They're like, well, they're definitely going to get, not do well. And then it's like, I can't believe they did well. I think China was actually a really good example of that. Like China has historically been a good team. So I don't know if the other teams are underestimating, but I know that fans and commentators definitely are. So all of these surprises are, I don't know if it's just crazy World Cup surprises, or maybe we should have more access to friendlies.
All right. Oh, I'm having a moment. My internet is really like killing me right now. All right. We're back. We're fine. Netherlands beat New Zealand 1-0. Goal by Jill Ward. I'm just sad. Like so late. I'm just sad. Anyone have anything they wanted to say, Danielle?
I'm just full of stuff, I guess.
No, that's fine.
I was really impressed by New Zealand. I'm like totally like contradicting what I just said, but we've had access to see New Zealand, and I like Tom Sermanni as a person. He's not a good coach, so I was fully prepared for when New Zealand was gonna get beat up to talk about how he's a bad coach, and then I was like, oh no, they're actually doing really well. Maybe he's not bad. So I was surprised. So
all right. We're gonna come. Oh wait, so Sweden I can't call them just Chile. I have to call them Chile, like they're meant to be called. But Sweden beat Chile 2-0 goals by Kosovari Asllani, who I honestly, for some reason, her and Caroline Sager, I forgot. Not out of disrespect for great players, I for some reason couldn't remember if they were both playing internationally still or not. That answered my question in this game. And then the other goal was by Madeline Yanogi. I probably didn't say that right. My bad. I have nothing to say about that because I'm kind of like, meh. Do you have Danielle's yelling at me about something?
Oh no, I was saying it was her fifth cap, I think. Like something
like that. It was not a lot. It was not a lot of caps.
And I realized that Sweden is the best team that I always just forget about. Like I forget about them. You said about those players. I know for a fact Pia left. I knew she was leaving after the Olympics, yet I still expected to see Pia there. I know my stuff. I just forget about Sweden, and they're too good of a team to completely forget about, but I just don't think about them.
They've just always had those same people in their roster throughout the centuries that they're just still there, like Fisher and stuff, and you're like,
yeah,
how are you still here? But then you look at the U.S. team and you're like, oh, how are you still here? I get it now.
And then I went looking for, I was like, where's Shalene? And I was like, oh, that's the one who's actually not playing. Okay. I was like, oh, Sager and Asllani there. I was like, where's Shalene? And I was like, oh, she's actually okay.
I still can't believe I thought Pia was going to be on that sideline. Knowing fully knowing 3 years ago she had already said she was leaving, and I was like, yeah. Oh no, that's a dude. Oh.
Who's
All right,
that?
we're gonna come back to U.S. and Thailand. We're gonna end with that. Not Jamaica, but Nigeria beat South Korea 2-0. Goals by Oshuala and an own goal by Kim. I don't know who made this comment, but whoever wants to say something about the game, go for it.
You know.
Oh, I'll just read it. How Oshuala got her groove back was the comment on our little prep doc for the show. So
yeah,
yes.
She was like really silent in the first game that she played, and then in this, she just like turned it on and was like on fire this time. So good for her. She was like super smart in this game with her runs and everything. So there you go. That was me. I'm a dork.
All right. Germany beat Spain 1-0. Goal by Sarah De Breitz. Anyone?
No.
No. I watched this last night and I was falling asleep because I had such a long day yesterday. So my eyes could not stay open. So that tells you it wasn't too exciting.
It wasn't, but I liked the goal because it was
no.
Oh. That was a sound.
That was I need to go investigate. So someone else talk about France and France beat Norway 2-1. Goals by Valerie Gauvin, Les Sommer, and Wendy Renard. Someone talk about that real quick.
Okay. Me and Danielle can talk about it. You can check on.
Great. Talk about that real quick. I had to find out what the heck that
was. So Gauvin, by the way, is an incredible freaking attacking player. And I didn't actually know anything about her until the World Cup, which doesn't say much about me. But she has been, for me, the best attacking player on France.
Mm-hmm. I was just really sad. I hate own goals to see Wendy get that. It was just such a weird one. So, it left her foot wrong. Like, she's too good of a player. So, it just bounced weird. And was that the game where they were like, this pitch is weird? Like, it was just making weird. No, I think that was a different one.
I think that was a game today when the ball was moving slowly.
Can I say that I watched this game right when I woke up at 6 a.m. so I could catch up before work? So to me, it was today. But yeah, so France still stays strong. So I was excited to see that. Who knows? Maybe they can actually not, France it up this year.
Yeah, and as far as Norway, I think Norway played a really, really good game. In spite of losing, they stuck with Renard in the box on set pieces. I know that they were talking about how they practiced with their 6'5" trainer or something like that, so that they knew how to guard her. But they did a really good job.
Yeah.
So that was cool for them. But we'll see how the next couple of games work out for them, or I guess the next game.
Should we go to the next game?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I am bad with words and pronunciations for names, so I will let you do that.
Is that Australia?
Yeah, it's Australia, Brazil.
Okay. So Australia beat Brazil 3-2. Goals by Marta. She got a penalty. Oh, she's back. Christiane. Monica had an own goal for Australia, which was awful. And then for Australia, Ford and Lugarzo scored the goals. We can talk about the penalty at the end, or do we want to talk about it now? Because it was kind of weak.
I feel like there's so many. First of all, if anyone wants to ever have cats, remember this moment where I went in and all of the cereal from on top of the refrigerator was just all over the floor. Little Reese's Puffs everywhere. Cheerios all over the counter. It's fine.
That's cool.
There's only one cat that gets up there, so someone's in trouble later. But that was sorry for that. I was going to just jump in and say I think we can maybe talk about I have 2 issues with things there. Maybe those could come towards the end. It has to kind of do with rules and VAR, so I think maybe we'll go back to that. I want to say I was watching at work, so I don't know. Did they give a reason why Marta came out at halftime? Is she okay, or just
probably
did they say?
Yeah, I
Didn't
think what Danielle precaution, I think.
Okay.
I will say, obviously Australia had a strong second half, so it makes me sound dumb for what I'm about to say. But I think we kind of touched upon it for the first Brazil game, and I think Brazil probably does play better without Marta, and that's nothing against her because she is the GOAT. I think it all comes down to, I mean, we saw it, I forget which teams we saw it last summer in the Men's World Cup, but it's when you have a larger than life player, it's hard. And I think that, you know, Brazil at some point is going to have to figure out how to play without her anyway. So there's that. And I also wanted to say, if Brazil does not move on, this might have been for me as the last World Cup game because she got that second yellow. So I said that, and then I was like, she'll be there at age 44. Oh, never mind.
Sorry. I don't know. Was that in the frame, that vicious attack on poor little Nala by the same cat who was just on the freaking refrigerator?
Yeah.
She's so fired.
Damn.
She's so fired. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, you make a good point about that. That may, if they don't make it through, I'm so scatterbrained right. Those threw my whole life off. And then lastly, before we get to the US and talk a little bit about some of the rules, things we have some issues with, China beat South Africa 1-0 goal by Li Ying. I honestly only watched some of that because it was the end of my day at work. Danielle and Karen both maybe look like something to say. We'll go with Danielle. What you got?
I think actually both teams played really well. It stinks that it was just one bet. I mean, I think China definitely was the better team and deserved to win, but I think South Africa played pretty well. The keeper, and I'm not just saying this because I kind of have a connection, but I think South Africa's keeper did an amazing job, especially because she didn't play the first game. Cool thing for me is that she used to play for my local WPSL team before they disband. There was actually 2 Menace players on that team. I forget the name of the second one, but she subbed on the second half. So that was cool. I agree, Star Killer. It was kind of boring, but I still kind of enjoyed it because I just wanted both of them to succeed.
Yeah, right on. Okay. Was that a hand raise? I got something to say, Karen, or just you're playing with your hair?
I was playing with my hair, you know.
Okay. Sorry, I really am. Reese's Puffs all over my floor. I really just kind of put a damper on my day a little bit right there. All right. So that was actually not that bad. We did it. We're obviously, gonna keep going, until we talk about the US game and just a little bit about what some of the concerns are so far. Obviously, US beat Thailand, and I hope I got all these goals. I tried real hard. Beat Thailand through 13-0 goals by Alex Morgan, 5. Rose Lavelle, 2. Sam Ewis, 2. Lindsay Horan, Megan Rapinoe, Mallory Pugh, and Carly Lloyd. I think we all know what the big talking point is here. We're not going to talk about was 13 too many goals. No.
It was
lots of controversy about celebrating and other things. Who wants to tackle any of what your thoughts on any of the? You don't even have to talk about that. If you want to talk about how rocking it is, Alex Morgan 45 goals, go for it. Well,
I can talk a lot. I think that I think the U.S. played well. I don't think Thailand is as bad as that scoreline says. We discussed all of it. They're the ones who usually beat up on other teams. So I think that they had an exceptionally bad game, especially their keeper. And I think U.S. finally got it together for the first half for the first time all year long. And I think it was just a perfect storm. When it comes to the celebrations, 2 things can be true. You can think it's tacky. I hated it. But I also understand it. And I think that I'm okay with them doing it. Just because I don't like something doesn't mean it wasn't all right. These girls are women. Wow. Are under so much pressure. I don't think any of us understand the pressure they're in. They are trying to repeat. And for 4 years, basically since the final, people have said, this team's crap, including, I think, us. I think we did it. So the pressure they're in, it was an explosion, probably. I think Alex Morgan getting the worst of it is odd because to me, the 5 thing was she realized she's going to win the Golden Boot if she keeps this up. I think it was more that. So I think the controversy is a little silly. I kind of got riled up that night, though, because some salty people to the north really had a problem with it. And it's super weird that they had a problem with it when, let's see, the short one, and I can say that because I'm her height, the short one, I think, was celebrating a goal when her team beat Cuba 12-0 just less than a year ago. So that was interesting. And then there's another one who said it was disrespectful, and she couldn't even do her research to realize that this is not Thailand's first World Cup. They played 2015 and they won a game. So how is that not more disrespectful than anything? At least, research the job. So I think a lot of us got riled up when the Canadians did, and now I love the celebrations because of that.
Karen? Yeah, no, don't worry. I'm coming over there.
I got the thing that I want to address with this whole hubbub that's going on is that there's a lot of head patting going on towards Thailand. Like they're like little kids playing in a big girl league, and it's kind of disrespectful. Like I think that's the disrespectful thing. That they're being treated like they're this like inferior team that doesn't belong at the World Cup. And that the U.S. should have gone easy on them and shouldn't have celebrated and shouldn't have played them the way that they would play like Germany or any other team. And that's just disrespectful to a country or a team that's put years of work into getting to where they got. And I think it seems like the only people who are like respecting that team are the U.S. players by playing the game the way that they played it. And then their conduct after the game when they were like consoling them and giving them advice and talking to them. And on top of that, I think I'll probably just leave it there because otherwise I'll get too riled up. It's just like the way that people are talking about the Thailand team is just so disrespectful of like everything that they've done to get to where they are. And nobody's addressing like the fact that FIFA is the really big problem here because they aren't putting money into women's soccer and they aren't requiring federations to put money into women's soccer, and because they don't care. They don't care enough, I guess I should say. So I think that's the conversation that people should be having instead of like dragging the US team and tone policing them on their celebrations and whatever else is going on with the Canadian people who were pissed about it. It's just really disrespectful to Thailand, honestly. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
I want to say this carefully because I'm not trying to be, even though I think these people are being offensive, I'm trying not to be offensive to them because I don't believe in that. But I think if you only come out and watch soccer once every 4 years for the World Cup, okay, I wish that you would watch more often and support these people. But I'm happy that you're watching. I'm happy, just like pretty much all the major league sports teams on the U.S. first game were like, whoa, a nation, one team. And I was like, boy, where are you any other time during the year? But I still thought it was really cool. So I'll take it. I'll take that. Great. But I feel like there was so much, like, not even, I don't agree with their celebration. So much just hate and like just nastiness directed towards the national team from people who watch the game once every 4 years. And that I think is what really kind of gets me. Is that I don't think I'm not saying you don't get to have an opinion because you don't watch the rest of the time except for major tournaments, but like I just feel like to come in with that much like nastiness to a team that you watch once every 4 years, I think is just okay. It kind of goes along with the people who have popped in 4 years later and are like, I'm not watching because Megan Rapinoe doesn't stand for the anthem. I'm like, okay, she hasn't knelt for the anthem in since she was asked not to, 3 years ago. So I've seen a lot of that since the World Cup started too. Like, oh, I can't support the team if Rapinoe kneels. And I'm like, again, if you have followed the team for more than 3 seconds, you would know that that's not happening anymore. So
the controversy now is she's not singing the anthem. So
I don't want to get into that. I don't even want to get into that right now. But like, it's the same thing I've been seeing this whole time though, or people who haven't watched since the Olympics maybe, or even the last World Cup, and now are like, I can't support the team because of Megan Rapinoe kneeling. And I'm like, when was the last time that happened? Well, it's un-American. She shouldn't be able to do that while representing her country. I'm like, yeah, she's not. Okay, great. It's the same people who are saying that are like, they're disgusting and horrible people and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, please watch more than once again, everyone gets to have an opinion, but like, that really grinds my gears when you're people who don't actually follow the sport regularly and you want to have that hateful of an opinion. That's just,
stupid.
It's not great.
I had just one more thing. Yep. I think there was some back and forth, and I think both sides were right about, this wouldn't happen to the men's side. Yeah, I think it would, but I think it would be different. And it depends on the teams, of course, and the players. But I think that if it happened in the Men's World Cup, what would happen is, man, look at those assholes. All right, anyways, next game. And it would be different. And I think that there's still that expectation for women, especially to not be egotistical. And I don't mean egotistical in a bad way. I guess I mean it in a confident way. I think there's still that we want them to be, they have to inspire the girls. They have to think of the children. They have to be, prim and proper and nice. And I think that it's okay if they're assholes. I think that that's okay if they're confident. And I think that's the difference. I don't want to compare them to the men's national team because that's so kind of worms. But like if and I have to be careful because there are players for the French national team where it would be an issue. But I think if it was the French national team, they just won the Men's World Cup. If they did it, I think we'd be like, oh, well, they're kind of jerks and move on. And so that's where I think a lot of that gendered stuff comes from, is we still have that narrative of these players are inspiring the next generation instead of these players are playing to win.
You have to be a good sport because this is women's sports.
The children are watching. Alexi Lawless told me the children are watching.
All right. Alexi Lawless was the one that was like, who cares about the children in this case? And it was weird.
Oh, was he making fun of it? I saw his tweet. I don't follow him. So I just saw somebody retweet, think of the children, or the children are watching.
I think
he
was making fun of it.
Someone actually asked him like, "Oh, please tell me you're not actually upset about the goal, the score and the celebrations," and he was like, "Nah, absolutely not."
Okay, but think of the children, y'all.
One.
All right. I know we had a lot to talk about, so we're gonna kind of end on something that was in a lot of our comments for a lot of games, because like it just has happened so damn much in this first like week of World Cup, and that sucks. As we know, VAR became a thing, and there have been a lot. It has been used a lot. Mostly with like penalties and offside, and we have this delayed offside where like even if she's super offside, you don't put the flag up right away, because what if she scores a goal and she wasn't, even though she's like 5 feet offside. And, like, and they changed the handball rule, so it's like, what is your arm in an unnatural position? Is it not? And I'm just like, yo. And for example, and before we comment, there's 2 examples there. I think during Lisa Devana, I think during the Australia game, had her hands in a way more unnatural position than the penalty that actually got called. I think it was Spain. Was it Spain, South Africa? I think. I think that was way more unnatural than the penalty, and that wasn't called, and the penalty that was called the next game. So it's just being used inconsistently, I guess. And then there was this whole the Sam Kerr goal, like not Sam Kerr goal, the Monaco own goal today. Like, did the rules change? I don't know. That's all I have to say about it, because I want to just get all my. I just think it's being used incorrectly and consistently, and I actually think a lot of it is also the issue with like the handball rule itself, mixed with the VAR. is just creating a cluster that has not been a good look so far. So we'll get you guys a couple of brief comments on that, and then we'll wrap it up. We'll go start with Danielle.
Okay. Well, I think one big problem is maybe we should have introduced VAR before the first game of the World Cup. That being the first internet, no, we should have been doing this for months to make sure that we know how to do it right, not to waste time properly. I think that was a real big mistake because VAR is difficult to work with. And getting those bugs, like it should be used, just for the big stuff. I think that would have been calmed down. But I think you hit it on, nail on the head. I think the big thing is handball rules are dumb, and even professional soccer players don't know the rules. I mean, there was Lloyden, there was like McCaffrey, Averbush, all tweeted like, "I don't know the rules of the game I've played my whole life," and I think that that's a big issue. And I think they've gotten these calls right, and that's the problem, is they're doing their job, and it just sucks, and it's ruining things.
Mm-hmm. And there's been times. Sorry, I thought I was going to talk, but there's been times when you go to like they've had Christina Uncle doing every single game of this World Cup as like the rules analyst, and there's been times where she and the rules analyst thinks, oh, this was definitely the call, and then it's like, whoops, just kidding. It actually they made it. And granted, she's not on the field, so she's in a position where the same view that all of us are at. But I still think it's even when. And my issue is just that maybe they're making the right calls, but I don't think they're, as far as handling, I think they're inconsistent when you have one game where the arm's like this and they're like, nope, no penalty. And you have another game and the arm's like a chicken wing and they're like, yep, that's a penalty. So, but sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah. And my thing is too, and I think Kelly Smith said it during one of the panels, is that a lot of players are going to see this and it's going to start like morphing the game almost, because as a defender, you can't do anything like if your like leg is too far out, if your like arm is too far out, and there's no way to like jump in the air without your arms going somewhere. So like on these crosses, for instance, where you're getting the handballs, like there's nowhere else for some of these hands to go. Like, and it's crazy that you would call that when it's literally not something they're doing on purpose. Their arm might even be like next to their like body even, and they're going to get called on it because you don't know which way each ref is going to go because nobody knows the rules, and it's just going to make the game boring or like the opposite of boring, but in a bad way, where like not even the players know what's happening, and then everybody on the field is confused and angry, and then it starts getting into the gameplay, and then you start getting players injured because there are like angry tackles being made,
Well, and to kind of feed off, you were kind of touching this point, is one of the games. So I think it was the game I watched before I worked. So from last night, I think it was Kat Whitehill. It was like, as a defender, you have to have your arms out. It's almost dangerous to play with them behind your back. And so as a defender, she's watching these women have to play like this, and they're gonna fall, they're gonna hurt themselves in other ways, or they just can't do their job.
Yeah, it was Nigeria. Nigeria was the team. They'd probably seen the first handballs being called in that one game, and every single time you saw them in every single defensive play, they were like, nope, not getting a handball called on me.
Yeah, so I think maybe we all had kind of some good points here of like, and obviously, there were some issues with, some spikes going in the thighs in the Spain game, and then, the penalty that was called against Norway that everyone, a lot of people agree is a penalty. They did not in the studio agree, but, again, like your foot can only go so many places if you're in a kicking motion, and like, yes, you should be getting the ball, but like, where do you go? So I think maybe this wasn't the best. I agree with Danielle. Maybe this wasn't the best place to debut VAR. Like brand new at the World Cup. I think they're going to have to look at some of the rules that they've made. They recently have changed the handball rule. I think they're going to really have to take a look at some of those rules after that. Mm-hmm. Any last quick final thoughts? I know we are fine going long, but we really are kind of going a little bit long. So, is there anything anyone else wants to say before we head into like the next couple games or anything like that? Karen, you maybe look like you want to say something. Yes.
One hopefully very short thing.
Sure.
And it's something that I've noticed because I watched this roundtable with, it had Crystal Dunn and a bunch of other, I think Aaron West was in it, but specifically Black American professional soccer players were like in a roundtable talking about being Black and playing professional soccer in America. And they talked about like words that commentators use, and it's gotten in my head and I've started noticing it. These commentators need to watch how they talk about specifically like teams from Africa and teams from predominantly white countries, because I've noticed there's a difference when they're talking about a Nigerian player. They say strong, fast, things that have to do with like physical attributes. And then when they're talking about like a team like Germany or a team like, I don't know, like Norway or the Netherlands, they say stuff that has to do with like intelligence. And I've noticed that's always the case. And I hear it whenever they're talking, and it like sets off alarm bells in my brain. And I'm like, that's icky. Like, you guys need to pay attention to how you're talking about these players. That's all.
I mean, today's game, they had that they used the power versus skill for two teams that were probably the worst examples of that for their areas. Like automatically for South Africa, they're like the power and pace type thing. It's like they're more skilled on the ball. Asia, they're more skilled on oh my god, South Korea, being an Asian team. Oh, they're more technical, and they're like, no, they were a little more powerful of the Asian nations. So it's using those stereotypes, and you're not even getting it right.
Yeah,
and I think there's a really good point. We need more, maybe an Asian, a commentator from those areas. A South Korean. I know that, in panels they do that really well. Try to get people from a lot of the countries, but I think in commentators it could really add to it. So I think that was a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm going to end with the one thing I forgot to mention, and we'll have to wrap it up. I forgot to mention this during the recaps. For everyone's knowledge, just your friendly neighborhood reminder that the country code for Japan, JPN, not JAP. That's a racial slur. And the country code for Nigeria, NGA, because the other one, NIG, is actually for the country Niger, which is not in this tournament. So, sorry, this is way off topic. What you guys related but not related. You're talking about, it's World Cup related. You're talking about obviously a much more deeper issue, but I had to just get that in there because I forgot to mention it earlier, because I have sadly seen a lot of, especially with the Japan, and that's I think the more egregious one. I think again, respect Nigeria and don't call them a different country, but don't use a racial slur as a thing. So yes, Danielle.
Oh, so I was just gonna leave it in there.
Oh, you're like, I thought that was a hand raise, so I'm gonna let you have the last word.
Oh, but I already put in the chat that my last word was already in there, but I guess I'll say it here. One big thing over the last week that I was really excited about is that I think this week has really brought back my love of WOSO. I've been kind of struggling for a while. I like it, but I fell out of love with the game. I don't need to keep going about FCKC's gone, but that definitely hurt. And then I realized how much fun it is. So I've really had a lot of fun this last week.
Same.
All right. Thank you for hanging in there with us. I know that was kind of like a supersized episode, but there was just so much. There was so much to talk about, and I don't think with we have to respect the World Cup and give all the countries and everyone a fair shake, and while still talking about our own team and whatnot. So thanks for hanging in there with us. I really appreciate all the chat and discussion. You guys are awesome. Thank you again. If you bought a t-shirt, if you shared the link or anything, they're getting printed. Yes, money is going to Ally. If you still want to buy one, you can, but that's it. I'm not talking about it anymore because it's done after tomorrow. So thank you. 35 shirts as of now. You guys rock. And we will see you next time. Watch our Twitter and social media to see when we're going to be on next. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
I apparently can't wave and end the broadcast.